again. Now, I'll just introduce you to the friendly little chair. Now, just before when I finish stretching, I use a chair and we do a few supported techniques. I'll just show you what they are. First of all, we start off on the side kick. Now, I'll try and get the angle right here. So there, so you can see it properly. And, you know, just to teach people for that slow motion side kick. Now, you know, if a big person will have a little bit of trouble with that, but it sort of teaches you to keep in the groove, okay? So what I do is we touch the heel, hang onto the chair and stretch out, back, 2, back, 3, back, 4, back, 5, back, and the eye looking on the down the line of the leg. Again, do on the other side, see if we can fit all this in. So 1, we touch the heel so it's all in line, and look down with one eye, sorry, and out, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, one more, 6. Actually, I think that was 5, but anyway, can't count. Now, regarding turning kick, this is to keep the knee in the groove for turning kick. So here it is, right, I just look under the armpit, so I'll bring it around here, and the knee's up at 90 degrees, and I'm moving the knee only, looking through my armpit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I extend the knee. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's basically the turning kick in the groove. So it just trains the muscle and the ligaments to be in that groove for full turning. So knee at 90. Look through the armpit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and extend. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now these are done slowly, not fast. So it's like almost like a moving isometric. Now we do what I call the kickboxing kick. Kickboxers do a very good push kick. They push the bag here and push. Right, it's good to do that on a bag, but not on a bag you probably put your back out. But as a static exercise, it's very good, so I include this in the preparatory warm-up. So what it is, I lift the knee up, hang on to the back of the hamstring and stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's training the ligaments to keep the knees up to a degree. It's one of the exercises anyhow. Here we go. Knee up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At one stage there I had Jason White doing some seminars for me, and he had over 200 kickboxing or Thai fights in Thailand and in Australia, and he showed us quite a few techniques of the kickboxers, and I'm all for absorbing what's useful, disregard the rest. And where have you heard that before? The old Bruce Lee adage. So, you know, observe all martial arts and just see where the weaknesses are, and don't you repeat them. And that's what Miyamoto Musashi. Last night I just awarded some of my long-term students, including my son, the Book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. I suggest you read that book. Depends what level you're at. When I first read it, I didn't really understand a lot of it. Years later I read it again and I understood where Miyamoto was coming from. Now I read it, I do understand it. Especially the Book of Void at the end, where he talks about spiritual stuff. So, Book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi, thoroughly recommended for any martial arts instructor and or student. make certain it's in your library. Okay, next one coming up. Just switch this off. Okay, back again. Now, in the last hand technique tape, which was tape number 2, I left out a few techniques, and if I forget about a particular technique, because there is literally hundreds of them, I'll bring them into the subsequent videos. And the one I didn't include in last tape 2, which was a lot of boxing techniques, open-handed boxing, and some of the Yun Jin Do techniques combined, is elbows. So there's a bit of a tip on elbow, and just something I'd just like to mention is when we're breathing, you notice when we're breathing like this, you've got to learn to breathe properly, and there's a whole lesson really in correct breathing. It's diaphragmatic breathing, and it's a whole different method. It's explosive power breathing. Just excuse, there's a train that'll go past in these videos. Nothing much you can do about the trains in the background. Okay, so that's what it is. So don't look out the window and think there's a train passing. It's actually on the video. Okay, now there's a tip for when you use the elbow frontwards, and that is you use an open hand. So when you use elbows, it's different. You close the hand. Last video I showed the drop down. That's a closed hand technique. It focuses downwards. But when you do the elbow across, you keep the the palm open and fairly relaxed, and you're focusing on the olecranon here, right, of the ulna, which is, you don't have to toughen that up. Anyway, we'll get straight into it. We'll do 3 on each side. So I'm cutting across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how the hand was loose, but the strike goes in, and you try it on a punching bag, you'll find that what I say is correct. Okay, the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now regarding the other hand pulling back, that's okay if this elbow goes in. Sometimes I don't always pull back, even though that's good for, the twists in the hips and everything. But what I don't want to do is expose my face. So in some of the techniques, you'll see my hand won't come back that far. It stays there, as it would in boxing or something, so that you're impervious to counter-attack, right? Okay. Next elbow technique is up. Now this one can double up as what they call a rhinoceros horn. In various Krav Maga systems, I use this to protect from hook punches and such. But this one is really up under the chin, and we'll just go straight through that. Again, the hand's open, and what I do is just lightly touch the back of my head. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now remember before on tape 2 that I showed you the elbow strikes for kicks into the floating ribs. So I'll just do a couple of those frontwards. 1, 2, 3. Now that's side on. 1, 2, 3. And the rear hand, same thing. 1. But it doesn't have to move as far. 2. It's just straight down. 3. And see on the side. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's for kicks. You do that both sides, and I've done it both sides on tape number 2. This is tape number 3. Okay, now when you're moving back with elbows, when I'll just put my back to you, close both hands as you, like if someone grabs you on the shoulder and you go into elbow strike. They grab your shoulder, boom, elbow. So it's just like this. Shoulder gets grabbed, so it's like 2 elbow strikes at the same time. I'll do it this way. It looks a little bit better for the video. Just imagine someone's grabbed my shoulder, or you've got a handbag if you're a girl. Could be a guy these days, who knows. But anyway, say it's a girl, the handbag, shoulder grab, whack, comes back in like this. So the drill is you cross the hands, look where you're going, breathing, the other way, looking over the shoulder, cross the hands, and then I tighten the fist as I strike, both hands simultaneously. Although I'm just basically focusing on this hand, the other hand goes out in synergy with it, right? Okay, so you've got bang, forward, up under the chin, or protection against a hook. You've got this one, rear, looking over the shoulder, rear strike. And here, spin back, elbow. So a little bit more fancier. You know, you can roll it, you can do like you roll into them. Punch comes out, back, back. Okay, you get the idea, you can roll around with it, but you've got to keep your eyes really focused. Okay, that's the elbows. There's different versions, you can grab an elbow and what have you, but I'm just keeping it simple for the optional extras on the Yunjin Do/Healy's integrated DVD or video series. Video number 3. Come back soon. Thank you very much. Okay, back again. Now, without question, Grandmaster Yun was the absolute master of kicking techniques, especially the side kick and spinning kick. Deadly. Well, all his kicks were deadly. You couldn't see him executing them. They were that fast and I always say like a steel trap. He was like a bear trap. You're watching and bang, you're gone. So what I'm going to do is go through a few of the kicks. Now these are the DNAs taken out of the patent, and the DVDs or the CDs demonstrate the kicks very well. I mean, you've got the Grandmaster demonstrating kicks. What other Grandmaster you see them demonstrating kicks? And you've got not Stephen Chi, but Nathan Chi demonstrating kicks. He's quite good. You've got Roy Tapuni, and there's a gentleman from Papua New Guinea, I can't remember his name, but they're very good. And the kicking component of the DVDs is excellent. I strongly suggest you purchase the DVDs. I will add into that. Nothing really to add as far as the kick's concerned, although I do some hand and foot combinations extra, so that might help. Add into your toolbox. As I say, this is the toolbox set of videos. Well, I'll start off with double half turning kick. Now the principle that the Grandmaster always used, and why I understand this is because I've spent a lot of one-on-one time with him, not only recently over the last 5 years, but before when I was his head instructor in Townsville, North Queensland, and even in the ITF days. He spent more time up there than he did with the instructors in New Zealand. I mean, he'd go to New Zealand, this is what the New Zealand instructors told me, he'd go to New Zealand, and of course there was hundreds, literally thousands of students there, where he'd come to Townsville. You know, we had at our peak about 100 students, and I spent a lot of one-on-one time with him. And if people that know me, I'm always asking questions. I've been like that all my life, and I really want students to ask questions as well. And so does the Grandmaster, by the way. He's always open-minded. That's a great thing about Grandmaster Yun. So his principle was diversion attack. In all the patterns, and he's not concerned about the pattern so much, more the individual skills and drills. So he'd rather you practice all the skills and drills, get them spot on 1,000 times each, and then of course you can do the pattern easy. It's not about the pattern. It's about the techniques that join into the pattern. What I did, I spent about 20 years away from Yunjin Do. I resigned in '93, came back about 5 years ago, and in that journey, what I looked at what I'd learned from the Grandmaster, and I took what I believe was a DNA out, and I applied it to other things I did. like Commando Krav Maga and various. And I had actually evolved my own system as well. It was Healy's Integrated Combat. So I used the Grandmaster skills and combined them into my boxing skills and all this sort of thing, etc., etc. So the kicking you can't improve on in the DVDs. Good luck if you can. If you can, great. But you've got some really good examples there. I'm just reinforcing it simply, but there's things I know about how the Grandmaster thinks that that aren't on the video. And one of the principles is his basic principle is diversion attack. So he will strike to, say, the knee, then he'll come up the top. Like these are double kicks and things like that. So he does a diversion. It's a classic military situation, you know, diversion attack. Okay. So the first one I'm going to do is double half turning kick, and the first is a light kick to the knee, and then you come up to the top. We'll just do a couple of reps so you can get an idea about it. 3, we'll do 5. Okay, we'll do the other side. Knee to, say, the chin. Okay, there's 5 each side. More kicks coming up. Thank you very much. Okay, my speciality back in the days when I was training full time with the Grandmaster, half turning kick and back kick. Jumping back kick was good as well. I was pretty good at that. Jumping side kick, flying side kick. Not so much now. I'm 65. I sort of give the jump kicks a bit of a rest. I can still do them, you know, the basic ones. This technique is left-right. I've used the boxing, combine it in with a half turning kick. And the principle behind it is, if I'm doing a left-right in boxing, it's a diversion to bring the half turning kick up underneath the punches. So I'll do, say, 3 on each side, so you can see. I may do 5 on each side. Just have a look at it. Move back a bit. Wait for the moment. Do 5. Okay, we'll go to the other side. You know, diversion attack, that's the principle. And the stance is always sitting, you're here, you sit back. So you keep that weight on that back leg, move the centre of gravity back a little bit. Three, 4, 5. Okay, left, right, half turning kick. Okay, back again. Variations of the side kick, and I'll tell you up front, no one is better at side kicking than the Grandmaster. Have a look at how he does the side kick on the DVDs, copy it, imprint it into your brain. That's the best side kicker in the world. Even the guys who are still back in the ITF, such as Paul McPhail and them, they all admit Grandmaster Yuen was a master of the side kick. Deadly kick. Okay, so I'm still working on it at 65, okay? Alright, so some people can kick very high with the side kick, but the Grandmaster could kick vertical. And that's good for a photograph, but the reality is a 90-degree side kick is probably the best angle because your groin is not exposed. If you're up high like this, the counter kick to that straight to the groin. It's you know, good for a photograph, good for a Bruce Lee movie maybe, but not real good for a real self-defense. So that makes me sit a bit easier because I can probably kick head height But the other thing is too, what I notice is there's a lot of people kicking with side kick, and what you find is the kick, yeah, it looks good, but it's their leg, they're just poking their leg out there, right? There's a whole different dimension to side kick by using what I call the gluteus maximus power, you know, that glute area, and the angle of the actual hips. They've got to be lined up properly, and what we're doing is what they call side piercing kick. So this is a kick that finishes off an attack very, very abruptly, and it isn't just throwing the leg out there. And just, you've got to be careful that the whole body's lined up behind it as well. That's why it's called side piercing. Just a little story for you, quick story. Won't tell you many on these tapes. In the old days, I was sparring a character, and I was, you know, easily showing this guy up with my hand techniques as I normally do. He got very frustrated, and he threw a full powered side kick into my floating ribs. It's supposed to be non-contact, but the guys that have been around about my age, they know what we're talking about. What he did was fracture the rib with the heel, and a heel print went on this side of the rib and it went straight through the other side. I mean, basically I couldn't breathe properly for about 6 to 7 weeks. That's ego for you. But the side piercing kick, that's what it'll do if it's executed properly. Okay, so we're just going to do probably 3 to 4 off the back leg, off the front leg, down to the knee. What I call flick and kick, the Bruce Lee move, where we actually backhander and do the front leg side kick. So just a commentary on back leg and front leg side kicks. In reality, you use the front leg most of the time, except there's a couple of techniques I'll show you how to use the back leg and disguise it really. But why we use the back leg in training as well is because it teaches you the full hip through movement. It teaches you to turn the hip into it. Just doing the front leg all the time, if you haven't learned off the back leg, you don't have quite that hip thrust, that hip twist, and that's very critical in a side piercing side kick. Also, there's a jumping versions of side kick. I won't be doing those on this video, but I will do them. There is some videos I've done on jump side kicks on punching bags and stuff like that. So I've got that on the bottom of the page. Did those a few years ago. But okay, we'll just, without more ado, this is the back leg side kick, and we'll do 3 or 4 of those, okay? Probably about chin level. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's do the other leg. All right, just get the distance right. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now off the lead leg, faster, a little bit less hip twist, but as I said, if you learn off the back leg, there's that hip twist off the front leg. It's not as much, but it's still there, rather than poking the leg out, right? Just do 3 on each side. On the side. Now notice I point, it focuses your energy. I do that when I do break falls and that I point, keeps me in the correct roll position. So I'm pointing, you. You get the idea now. If you practice that front leg, and there's an excellent video that ITF instructor Paul McPhail put through said, is this the fastest side kick ever caught on video? And it's the Grandmaster doing a side kick. I've got it on this website and the official website, doing a lead leg side kick, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's our example, and even at 80 years of age he's still kicking every day. He keeps loose. Did a few quick twist kicks in the lift to me the other day. He's still going, folks, so that's a great man. Okay, so another way to do the lead leg side kick is backhander. So it's like I'll come in with the backhander. I call this a Bruce Lee move, like that. So it's hitting them towards the face. They're going to lift back, side kick in. So I'll do 3 of these. So it's flick and kick. Getting the idea? It works. I remember seeing this on Enter the Dragon, actually, you know, back in the 70s. So that's where I got that from. And I've never seen anyone use it. Can't understand it. Flick and kick. Okay, now similar one, this is in the pattern where they do a lead leg side kick followed by a drop down back fist. Now the drop down back fist is in an X stance, so if you see that, it's like the old Taekwondo days. There's some techniques that we still use, the X stance, and the technique drops in on the bridge of the nose. Hopefully that me giving you a little bit of an idea of these techniques, it gives you an idea where to target them as well. Okay, so this time it's lead leg without the flick, lead leg side kick, drop in X stance. We'll just do 3. Shuffle back. It was an X stance. Shuffle back. I'm further away now. 3. Other side. I'll get back a little bit so you can see that here. And back. And back.